Welcome everyone, it's the Crypto Lark, and today I have a sponsored interview with Atlas Network. They are creating a universal blockchain for the travel industry. By the way, this is a token sale, guys. Always do your own research. There's always a certain risk in investing in any ICO, so make sure you know it before you get involved. Furthermore, this sale does exclude citizens of the United States and Singapore. I'm joined today by Zan. Zan, welcome.
Hi, Lark. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. Now, I think the best place to start is, what is Atlas and what are you doing?
Okay, so Atlas is basically a blockchain for the travel industry. Well, essentially what we want to do is to disintermediate the major platform currently really dominate the travel ecosystem. They basically take away too much the economics out of the travel ecosystem at the detriment of consumer and business who actually produce the value for the ecosystem. I think the idea is to return much of the economics back to the people actually creating value, creating the goods and services for the travel industry.
I think the problem is a really interesting one to solve. I mean, being someone who travels a lot, I would love to save more money on my travel expenses, and I'm always using these websites like Expedia, for example. So how much are we talking here? How much can I actually save using Atlas as a general kind of number?
Right. So if you really look at the markets that we're trying to solve, which are basically trying to solve the content, transaction, and user data market. And in all the three markets in travel, you have big pain points. You have big problems to solve because a lot of value are not being captured by the consumer and business. Looking at content, the dominant player like Instagram and TripAdvisor, all the content is actually created by user, but the platform just take those content for granted and monetize it either through e-commerce or advertising, and now the economics actually giving back to the people creating the content. So the alternative platform, the way we want to imagine and create with the blockchain is people creating content, posting travel content should be compensated, right? So that's direct value giving back to the people creating the value. If you really look at Instagram's $100 billion company, TripAdvisor in between $15 billion company, right? So while we're using 10% new supply of the coin to compensate the content producer, that's talk about $100 to $1 billion to $100 billion to $10 billion a year. Once you have ecosystem, content ecosystem of that size, so everybody who produce the content, and depends on how popular the content is by the community, will be compensated. Transaction market right now, I think that both consumer and vendors are really at a disadvantage. Basically, big platform like Booking Group, Expedia, etc. They dominate 60-70%. The top three players dominate 60-70% of the online accommodation booking, and their business model is essentially charging 15 to 25% in terms of commission, and then they use 70%, and they use 70% of those commission they collected to buy traffic. So Booking Group and Expedia are the two biggest clients of Google. Every year, two companies spend about $7 billion just on digital marketing, right? So it becomes inherently almost a rent-seeking model, right? So vendors are creating the hard work of goods, providing the goods and services. Platform take away 15 to 20% out of that, using the money and their skills so that they can't really compete in terms of traffic. And consumer essentially also need to bear the inflated prices. So if we can actually disintermediate the platform, return more of the value to people actually creating a service, which is a vendor, that is saving on both sides. User data, just, I know I haven't directly answered your question. I'm just laying down the foundation to answer that question. User data is the third market I want to really change for the travel ecosystem, because not all the transactional data are owned by the platform again. And the platform basically there are two pain points here. First, user doesn't have any control of those data, right? At the same time, they're also not deriving any economic benefit from platforms for using their data, right? They sell advertising based on transactional data, etc. And the other thing is vendor can never access those cross-platform data. If I'm a hotel, I only getting the information of this person booking my hotel. But what I really actually want to do is, for example, on Booking.com, this person, what other hotel they actually book, that give me a complete information. if I am a Shangri-La, I actually maybe more interested to acquire user data on who are the people on the platform that have not booked Shangri-La but have booked at Westin or W before, right? So those data platform has it. Vendor can't never access it, and people who own this data are also, right now are hopeless in this situation. So I think by creating a decentralized platform for content transaction user data, we're really creating a lot more opportunity for both sides, which is the consumer and business, and really liberating the ecosystem, and it can grow to a much bigger size. And in the process, I think your question is, how can we save, right? For the content, suddenly creating a model like online, like TripAdvisor, Instagram, people creating content are getting tokens in terms of payment. And this real economic value depends on how popular the content is. The more people creating content, the bigger the content ecosystem, the bigger the pop, right? And better your personal creation, more popular, more view, has more value by the community, the bigger pay you actually get by the algorithm that calculates that. From the transaction perspective, now suddenly all the vendors no longer need to pay 15 to 25%. That's real saving in terms of commission costs, right? And then basically in our system, the vendors save 15 to 20% in the current commission costs, but we ask the vendor to give back 5% in terms of Alice token to the consumers. So this 5% is not payment or fee to the platform that we don't collect. It's directly to the consumers in terms of Alice token.
That's awesome.
And so from consumer perspective, I'm paying $200 for the same hotel, but Alice platform also getting 5% rebate back into this token. If I want to keep this token, it's great. I can maybe see the appreciation of the token. I can use it for other scenarios. I can by being a token holder, I can also vote, and my decision will influence the distribution of the content. Or I can sell it on exchange and getting a monetary fiat payment out of it, right? So I think that is what was not possible before on other platforms as well. And then this is also a platform by user data. User has complete control. Vendors who want to access this data now has a way to pay directly to consumers. And consumers are getting information, promotional information from the vendor that approves, so that it's not annoying. At the same time, they're also monetizing their different ways. It's also the first time, I think, a business and vendor on the platform can directly incentivize using tokens to incentivize content creator to create content on their own venue and platform, which was not possible before. And there's also the time that they can directly acquire user data, cross-platform user data from actually people who own the data, which was not possible before.
That's awesome. I mean, it's a big answer, but you've covered so much there, and I think it's really, really awesome. Like, honestly, I'm so ready for something like this. I used to use TripAdvisor a lot. I used to write a lot of reviews and think, okay, I'm going to contribute to the community here. This is going to be really important. And then I kind of came to the realization, like, hey, wait a second. I'm spending a lot of time writing these reviews, putting my pictures here, and who's winning?
Exactly.
TripAdvisor's winning.
Yeah.
They're monetizing my information, they're monetizing my data, and they're using that to sell their product. And I thought after a while, you know what? Stuff this. I don't want to keep giving them my labor for free, essentially. But if you have a gamified system where I can post a review, get tokens back as a reward, that's awesome. That actually incentivizes people to do this. Now, a question that comes in here, though, is how do you stop people from cheating that system? Because it would seem to me people just hop on and write fake reviews and get free tokens.
Sure. I think mechanism need to be in place to minimize, if not completely prevent those type of cheating behavior. First, for example, you need to be a token holder to have a stake in the community to actually vote, right? You can't just create bots without owning any actually token, which is a sense of value you need to invest. So actually the likes and the votes only by token holder has a determination on the distribution of that token to the content creators. The second is we have diminishing return in terms of voting power. For example, within 24 hours, there's only as that person vote more and more, the actually influence in terms of power of that vote will diminish. So we don't want to create a scenario where this person just sit in front of the computer and click 1 million times. Try to influence the click. So it's a diminishing curve in terms of the influence in the vote. So this actually mechanism in place to make making sure that we get rid of the cheating behavior and to be more fair for the ecosystem.
Fantastic. And of course, the money saving potential is absolutely massive here by removing those middlemen. And I just see this repeating itself so many times with blockchain projects where you take the middleman away and all of a sudden everything becomes more transparent and cheaper and more efficient. And that's exactly what you're doing here. Now, in terms of the token itself, so what is the exact functionality of the token? So I get it back as rewards, I can hold it and write reviews and things. Can I actually pay for a plane ticket using the token?
Okay, so there are different scenarios to look at the token usage, and also you can look at the token user from two perspectives. One is users, consumers. The other one is vendors, business who sell their products and services on the marketplace. So from the user perspective, there are different ways you can use the token. One is, like you said, as a content creator, you basically, through your effort, through contributing and work, you are actually getting token from the ecosystem. So that's one way a token are generated. You can obviously also purchase transaction that happens in the marketplace. And right now we're definitely we actually accept all fiat payment for the transaction in terms of buying a hotel, booking a meal in the restaurant, and etc. Because we think that we're only accepting cryptocurrency at this stage from vendor perspective is a pipe dream. Right, the adoption is not there yet. People are not able to accept in terms of the fluctuation of the cryptocurrency. If I list a company like some hotel chain, you're not gonna take that kind of risk, right? So I think the transaction just like before, we accept credit card, Alipay, WeChat payment, Apple Pay, etc. But that 5% rebate is going to be only in Alice token, right? So from the vendor's perspective, they give me that 5%, I exchange into Alice token and giving that. So the consumer also getting tokens from transaction. The more I transact, the more also accepting that 5% in terms of rebate. And that in that exchange, 5% exchange, and vendors also getting consent-based use of data from the consumer as well. Then come back to user data, and this is also a place that I think create a unparalleled opportunity for vendor to engage in marketing, which they never been able to do before. This is places where, for example, using again example as a hotel, I can suddenly say if I want to promote this hotel in Beijing, I can tell all the people on the platform, besides the ecosystem, if you create content about this particular hotel, I'm going to give you 3 Alice token too. So for them, they treat it as an advertising marketing incentive. And their minds need to say, okay, this is my budget. I have $100,000 to do that. I convert to Alice token and distribute to the people directly. In the Instagram and TripAdvisor, vendor cannot even doing that. They have to go outside the system to try to find who the key opinion leader is, pay them outside the ecosystem, right? The other thing is, in the app, I think vendors can also directly getting user data directly from users. Example would be in my Shangri-La. I maybe want to access data. I want to promote to people who never book at Shangri-La, but has booked the Four Seasons and Westin and before, right? These are my target customer who has not booked with us here. So I also will be send out those promotional information. But when you arrive to the inbox of that person, he has the right to accept or not accept it. And then the vendors also issuing token to accept it, and whatever the promotion, the coupon is. So I'm from the user perspective, I have booked that Westin and Four Seasons before. Suddenly, in my inbox flashing Shangri-La, I want to offer you a 10% discount coupon by also paying you 10 tokens to do that. You can say I want to accept or not accept, right? So it's a win-win on both sides. From the vendor side, suddenly they have a way to do advertising and consumer data, which never even been possible on Booking, and all those other platforms before. And then consumer is actually first getting paid for it, but at the same time, they have the right to accept or not accept. So there's no kind of spend in that sense. But also, I think it's good because if I'm actually a consumer of, for example, in Westin and Four Seasons, I might be really interested in getting a 10% discount coupon from Shangri-La because everybody's interest aligned, right? I probably don't want to have a 3-star hotel, but it's a 5-star hotel, and give me a coupon, want me to try it, and again, there could be other one like Tiffany, sending a promotional material because I stay in Shangri-La, Four Seasons, this type of hotel. Just an example, right? So I think everything become more targeted, and the consumer definitely benefit in that perspective in terms of making tokens. So I think from the vendor perspective, they're will basically create an opportunity that vendors can really use tokens to generate marketing opportunity. That's also a huge potential market.
I love it. Again, we're flipping the existing models on their head. You literally get an advertisement or an email saying, hey, would you like to open this email? If you do open it, we'll pay you in tokens, and that's great. And of course, that 5% cash back or token back, I guess, in this situation is really, really a big incentive. Imagine if I buy a $1,000 plane ticket and I get $50 in tokens. Well, I'm not just going to let them sit there. I'm going to find, okay, what are these token things? How do I get them back into, real world money? Or maybe I go buy Ethereum or Bitcoin with it. That all of a sudden becomes a really powerful mechanism in terms of driving this whole thing. So it's really, really cool. Blockchain just turns the model right on its head.
Yes. Exactly. Now, so I think that, exactly.
I want to actually hop in here and talk a bit about blockchain, actually, and turn this to the tech for a minute. So you're going to be building your own blockchain, is that correct?
Yes, I think the approach from our perspective, we want a technology that can deliver the vision, but also at the same time, we want to be practical as well. So I think we right now basically we're looking at what other solutions that can provide that. We want a blockchain that can be able to support this kind of a transaction, on a per second basis, and I think even we want to build on blockchain, it's not going to be start from ground zero. Everything is open source in the market. We probably will be forking out of some existing solution. We're looking at the second layer solutions for example, the Radar network, the Thunder Core. So I think they're very interesting solution that combine the centralization on a fast sort of on a fast kind of chain with decentralized on a slower chain. I think that could help to solve this issue. At the same time, we're also, been talking with a lot of those kind of public chain sort of developers. I think people approach us as well. Besides Ethereum, EOS, some of the existing player, including IOST, L-Train, Zilliqa, and many of them also want to create a side chain together with us for the travel industry. So we're looking all that different kind of solution. At the end of the day, we want to bring to market a solution that deliver what we're trying to deliver into the marketplace. But at the same time, I think the building an infrastructure in terms of blockchain and building this D-app is going to happen simultaneously. I think the decentralizing using token economy does not necessarily need to have a full-blown blockchain solution, right? I think I'm not a perfectionist. I think getting into that perfectly autonomous, perfectly everything on blockchain kind of solution is maybe a few years down the road, right? But I think at the same time, some of the vision that we described, returning the economics back to consumer and back to the vendor providing the goods and services, those can already be done. Even though it may not be 100% decentralized, it could be centralized in certain consensus in certain ways. I think that is the approach that we're taking right now.
Yeah, and especially, you've kind of answered a bit of this question already, but really that idea, I was thinking, I think of all the likes and the upvotes and the comments, and like, wow, that blockchain is going to get really busy really quick, but actually bringing in those off-chain solutions, which of course then go on-chain later, is a really important part of that equation. So it's good to see that's the direction you're thinking in, and obviously we're still early within the project, but it's certainly moving in a very exciting direction. Again, blockchain helping to disrupt yet another industry. Now, I want to talk about Zanadu. So this is the company behind Atlas. So you can tell us a bit about Zanadu, the company?
Right. So Zanadu was created about 5 years ago. So, I came from a banking private equity background, working for Morgan Stanley for 6-7 years. And I started Zanadu about 5-6 years ago. And I think now Zanadu has become the #1 luxury online travel platform in China. We're also a content platform. We create all premium kind of travel content for the Chinese market as well. We also do video and VR, etc. And right now, this is a profitable business, and we have a global supplier and partnership. I think one of the reasons we realize that even though Zanadu is only focused on Chinese market, 95% of the trips those people take are outside of China. So in terms of who we work with, is completely global. We work with the world's best hotel, the biggest chain. We work with all the different airlines. And because China is an important market, that's why all the global players see is a very important partner for us, and see China as and Zanadu as very important partners. And I think that network is really built, and we also have a stellar reputation in the market. So I think that really helped us in terms of bringing as a successful traditional travel company. I think that's in the past having who has demonstrated sort of execution capability and has a reputation in the market is quite important at this stage to really bring blockchain in this traditional industry, because I think that the traditional industry does look at blockchain with a little bit of skepticism and so-called color glass. I think coming from being an insider from the traditional world, I think bring you on the table, right? For example, in the next 3 months, I'll be speaking at 3 major international travel conferences as only blockchain project. I'll be speaking at the Focusrite conference, Web and Travel conference, Singapore, the HiCat conference in Hong Kong. I'll be speaking at the World Travel Blogger conference in Sri Lanka. I think if you have a total outsider, don't have a track record in the industry, you don't really get this opportunity. I think the industry is curious about blockchain, yet at the same time doesn't know how to make sense of it, and people don't want this to be a hoax. They want to be explained by a person or a player that they can trust on. And I think that when we actually launched a basic event in Singapore 3 weeks ago, we actually brought 60 people from the travel industry. After spending an hour actually demonstrating and having panel discussion, demystifying what really blockchain is and how it can be relevant for the industry, I think people get it, right? It's the same way that once we talk to our Zanadu partners, we believe 100% of them will just sign up on the first day, because there's such a great value proposition. Zanadu still charge 15-20% in fee. Suddenly, this is a platform that doesn't charge you anything, only 5%, and that is rebate to the consumer. So the economic incentive, the business model is there. It's almost a no-brainer from the vendor perspective to really sign up. The only thing they need to worry about is reputation, which is solved by the Zanadu story. I think that is, I think is essentially, I think, will make us really excited, and I feel that we have an advantage right now in the market to do, because the bigger player in the traditional business now doesn't have the incentive to really revolutionize and disrupt themselves, right? So I think that market in terms of window of opportunity really exists, and I think our goal is really try to establish ourselves in the travel industry as the legitimate blockchain project in the market, and be the first one, like kind of raising the flag and tell people how we're going to change the world, how we're going to change the face of travel, and this is our solution.
Awesome. This is one of the things that actually made me really take notice of what you're building with Atlas, because I've seen a lot of blockchain projects that want to disrupt the travel industry, and nothing was really high level. Nothing was really from someone who had actually already built a massive name for themselves in the industry. And while Zanadu may not be very famous outside of East Asia, your resume is very impressive, and what you've built is very impressive. And to have that relationship already with the Chinese market just alone will give you a lot of users. And of course, that global expansion moving on from there is a very, very interesting value proposition. I did want to dig into your partnerships a little bit, though, because Zanadu has an absolutely impressive list of partners ranging from the world's major hotel brands to the major airlines. Have any of these companies actually said, hey, you know what, I like that Atlas thing, give us more information about it, or we want to sign up when it's working? So what has that been the interest from Xanadu's business partners already?
Of course, a lot of interest. Like I said, every partner we talk to want to really have the time to listen to the project. They basically immediately want to sign up once our platform is ready. Because again, I think the whole thing is about giving platform economics back to people, especially vendors. So I think it's a very, very strong economic incentive from the vendors. We also had this event 3 weeks ago with most of the people that we invited are travel ecosystem partners. We have the GM Ritz-Carlton, and we have the Nikkei Hotel, the vice president of Rosewood, etc. I think that community, I think, understand the value proposition here, and we have we're very confident in terms of vendor acquisition here. I think we focus more going to be on hotel and restaurant at this moment, because I think this is the place where the transaction fee is the highest. I think airplane ticket now has already become a market where the fee situation is less tiring. I think definitely airline has more bargaining power, right? Because there are fewer airlines for each destination, right? So I think a lot of airlines also started selling directly on their own. But essentially, I think the first group of vendors want to sign up as restaurant, hotels, restaurant, and travel agencies. Yeah, I think these are what can really create value really for them and also for the consumers. And the second wave is other kind of business that want to benefit from this zero transaction market and from this community of travelers. It could be people creating their own DApp on, Airbnb, selling car rentals, selling airlines, selling their plane tickets. It's free to plug in, and we don't really try to middleman to meddle things here or charge fee here and there. I think that is the goal. And eventually, I think all the IP owners like hotel and restaurant can also tokenize their IP and real value in their brand by doing token on top of Atlas, right? So there's a step-by-step kind of thing. And to answer your question, I think the beauty of this economic model is from both user sign up and vendor sign up, we have strong economics. And I think business needs to return to the business rationale, right? Whether you're blockchain business or non-blockchain business, is the same thing.
You're a business.
It's about doing marketing. You're a business. You're about creating value for user and vendor. They are going to look at the business and say, am I getting anything? What is the value proposition? If you have a value proposition, it works. If you're using blockchain, but you don't provide any value, why should user sign up? And why should vendor sign up?
Just to use blockchain doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense. People don't want to hear blockchain. People want to hear that how this platform going to help you and what do you provide to me in terms of value.
Exactly. There's all these things underlying the internet right now that deliver massive value for people every day, but they have no idea what they are. They just know that it works, and that's the most important thing. We can actually make it work, return money to people, it suddenly becomes very powerful. Now, in terms of your marketing strategy, I know we've talked about that a little bit already and how we're going to connect the brands with the customers and all this, but what do you see as being the key markets? Is this going to be really focused in East Asia, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan markets to start off with, or are we going to be seeing this go global quite quickly?
This definitely going to be a global play. I think the ambition is global, and you need to capture a global market. But I think if you really look at the global market, Asia Pacific is probably the most important market, right? China is probably China tourism itself accounting for, I think, 20% of the international tourism spend. So it's a very important market. Asia Pacific is important. I mean, Indonesia, Thailand, huge destinations.
Exactly.
Not just in terms of number of users, it's a huge important destination for global traveler. And Japan, Korea, etc. So I think definitely being a China-based, Asia Pacific-based company, we want to first capture this market, and I think we have advantage in the market. We have China. We've been operating in China for 5-6 years. I also spent 6 years in Singapore. We're going to set up our regional headquarters in Singapore in terms of BD and operations. So I think this gives us good coverage into the Southeast Asian market, China, the East Asian market. I think that's where I'm going to grow, start first, and then eventually grow into Europe and US. I think that will happen pretty soon as well.
Very, very cool. Now, I want to just get into the roadmap a little bit here. I suppose the timeline. We are going to see the mainnet release of this in Q4 of 2019 in cryptocurrency land. That seems like, 20 years from now. So that is a long time from now. So what are the steps that we're going to take to get to that point? And are you confident that you will be able to deliver that Q4 2019 mainnet?
Yes, I think we don't want to we want to overpromise rather than giving a milestone and not delivering. I think another thing to really look at this is we think of ourselves as a adoption case. We think of ourselves as really bringing real usage of blockchain into mass adoption. I think this is what really the world needs right now, not just public chain, really not relevant for our consumer. And I think that the reasons, the crypto market hasn't been growing too much is there's not a lot of newcomer coming into the cryptocurrency space. I think you need this application where people don't have to really believe in cryptocurrency to invest their real money in, but start by posting content, by doing transaction, I'm actually getting cryptocurrency, right? So I think that's the goal. And for us, in terms of delivering, I think the first milestone is actually delivering the DApp in 1Q 2019. Obviously, at that point, it's not going to be everything decentralized down to the consensus in that sense. But I think you can really start delivering value, a working kind of app that will able to allow you to to allow vendor to sign up on a zero commission kind of basis, allow user to actually create content and getting tokens into their ERC20 wallet. I think those things will start signing a vendor in providing valuable goods and services. Something are really working on that kind of platform based on the existing technology. At the same time, we're building the kind of infrastructure. And then, like I said, the way that we pick the way to build a blockchain, we're also being flexible. We are open to the idea of building everything our own by forking out of existing solution, adding the technology, or working with some of the existing partners from the blockchain that's approaching us and want to work with us to build us a dedicated sidechain for travel together. So I think those things are happening at the same time. At the end of the day, is in 2019, we want to deliver a product that creates value for users and vendor. I think that is the thing that most important to us.
And to be honest, a year is definitely a good timeline for that in terms of you have a lot to work on, a lot to develop, and I think a lot of crypto investors get a bit impatient. You know, I want my mainnet right now, but it's going to take a little bit of time to actually deliver that value and to do it right, and that's where it really matters, of course. Now, I want to just go over a quick few details of the sale itself. So when is the sale going to be?
We'll be announcing soon. We haven't actually, there will be a public sale. We think it's important for our project to have a public sales sector, even though, we have very strong demand from the private sales. I think we want to get a community, we want to actually, grow a community, people who get behind this vision and this movement. It is really, I think, is creating huge value for the travel ecosystem and for the people who love travel. And the exact details of how the public sale is going to be like, how much the personal cap for people to participate in the public sales, is not confirmed fully yet. So we will announce when it's confirmed.
Great. And the best place for people to keep an eye on that would be the Telegram and the Twitter?
Yes, that's correct.
Excellent. I have one final question here about the private sale. Now, there was a 50% bonus for investors in the private round. Is there any kind of lock on that?
Yes, we have six months lockup.
Fantastic, fantastic. So that gives people investing in the public sale a good opportunity to actually get involved before the private investors bring their tokens in later. I think that's really, really fantastic. Zan, this is such an interesting project. Honestly, I just love the idea of disrupting industries, of taking something like the travel industry and just turning it on its head with blockchain, tokenizing things and rewarding users. It's such a cool idea. Do you have any final thoughts for us?
No, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's actually my first YouTube interview, and
you did very well.
I want to use the opportunity. Just want to use the opportunity to really, tell your fans, tell other people out there, what this is about. And again, this is really about creating value for users, creating value for vendors, and I hope everybody can, join others on this journey and get behind this movement.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks so much for watching the interview with Atlas. Let me know what you think about their project down below in the comments section. Thumbs up the video and share these videos around the internet to help our community grow. Join the conversation over on Twitter. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.